This video is about solving for a specific variable. So we have two variables in each equation. So we have to solve for a specific variable. So if you look at the first question, it says solve for y. So what I do is I come down here and I underline y. That's the variable that I'm trying to solve for. That means that I need to take this 6x and this 3 and move it to the other side of the equation. So just like on previous examples and previous problems, what I want to do is I want to take this 6x and I want to move that 6x away from the 3y. I look at the operation that's connecting them. It's a plus sign. So then I look at 6x and I ask myself, how do I get rid of a positive 6x? Well, I get rid of a positive 6x by subtracting 6x. Make sure you subtract the x with it. And when you write it over here on the right-hand side, you make it a 6x. So what happens is 6x minus 6x is 0, so those get crossed out, equals, so I have 3y equals 15 and negative 6. They are not like terms. I cannot put those two numbers together and call it 9x or 21x, depending on if you add or subtract. So what I do is I leave them separate. I leave it as a negative 6x and a positive 15. I can't put them together because they are not like terms. So now I have this 3y. I need y by itself, so I need to get rid of the multiplication that's connecting 3 and y. I get rid of multiplication by dividing. So I divide both sides by 3. Not 3y, just 3. I want to separate the 3 and the y, so I want to leave the y there. So I get rid of the multiplication by dividing. The 3's cross out, and I get y equals, over on the right-hand side, this 3 gets divided into each term. You can divide anything. You can only add and subtract like terms. So negative 6 divided by 3 is negative 2x. 15 divided by 3 is a positive 5. Y is by itself. 2x and 5 are not like terms. This is your final answer. Now let's look at the second one. It says I want to solve for x. There's the variable I want to solve for, which means I need to move the 8y and I need to move the 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 8y to both sides. Notice I'm adding the y as well. I'm not separating the 8 and the y. I'm adding the 8y to the other side. The negative 8y and the positive 8y go away, leaving me 2x equals. The negative 4 and the 8y are not like terms. I cannot put them together. So I write it as a positive 8y minus 4. Now I have 2x. I need to get rid of the multiplication. So how do I get rid of multiplication? I divide both sides by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1, leaving me x equals. This over on the right side, you divide the 2 into each term. So 8 divided by 2 is 4y, and then negative 4 divided by 2 is a negative 2. X is by itself. 4y and 2 are not like terms. That is your final answer. And then the last one here says to solve for y. There's my y. Get the y by itself. So what do? I move the 8x to the other side. It's a positive 8x, so I subtract 8x from both sides. Notice I'm subtracting the x as well. I'm not leaving the x on the left side. So what happens is the 8 minus 8 is 0, and I get 3y equals negative 8x plus 9. Those are not like terms. I cannot put them together and call it a 1. Now I need to take the 3 and the y and split it apart, the multiplication, so I divide both sides by 3. What happens here is I get y equals, because the 3's cross out, negative 8 divided by 3 is a fraction that doesn't reduce, so you just call it negative 8 over 3, and then the x follows along, just right out next to it. And then 9 divided by 3 is 3. Y is by itself. You don't have any like terms to add together. There is your final answer.